Welcome back everyone once again to my channel Kytto Recaps. And guys, thank you so much to all of you for the support in the last part. And please keep showing that same love to this channel. And today, in this video, you're going to see that the moment Yuhao becomes a titled douluo, his very first move is to openly challenge Beast God Tian, and the destruction that their fight causes inside the Sun Moon Empire camp is something that could potentially change the entire direction of the war ahead, and whether the Sun Moon Empire army will be able to recover from this sudden attack or not. And in this very episode, we're also going to find out for the very first time about the existence of Soul Land 3's main female protagonist, Silver Dragon King Guena, and you'll see all of this before this video. But before we move forward in this video, let's do a quick recap of what happened in the last part. In the last part, the moment Tian finds out that his connection with Yuhao has been cut, he comes to Shrek Academy to find him. But there, his fight ends up being with the level 99 demigod, Elder Huan, and when Elder Huan shows absolutely no sign of giving up, Tian goes ahead and summons his huge dark dragon sword. And now moving forward in this episode, we see that Tian takes his huge dark dragon sword and launches a terrifying purple light slash attack on Elder Huan. And because of this, the sky tears open so violently that gravity itself breaks apart all around, and Elder Huan's godly Teoti bull gets trapped in that torn sky and can't even move. And that dangerous sword drives straight between his horns, causing a massive explosion. After which, two yellow rays of light spinning between Elder Huan's horns somehow manage to stop that attack. But his huge bull falls straight down from 5,000 meters all the way to 2,000 meters. And friends, let me tell you that the bull itself was 1,000 meters long, so it looked like it was about to crash straight into Shrek City. And with great difficulty, he manages to support himself by forming yellow clouds beneath his feet. After which Tian stays right where he is and keeps that huge sword pointed toward Elder Huan. And friends, let me tell you here that his eyes looked so terrifying, it was as if a devil god himself was standing there. And this was the complete absolute power of the most powerful being on the Douluo continent. After which Elder Huan suddenly feels extremely powerless because he understands just how massive the difference is between a soul core formed through the resonance method and one formed through the yin-yang complement. And the density of his soul power was nothing compared to Tian. But still, Elder Huan knew he couldn't back down, because if Tian reached Yuhao at this critical moment, he might never be able to cross his bottleneck, or his life could even be at risk. After which Elder Huan closes his eyes and remembers Elder Mu's final request. And then instead of flying up into the sky, his huge bull body stops right where it is below, and then changing form, he turns back into Elder Huan himself, and his powerful aura disappears too. After which a faint smile appears on Tian's face, because he thinks Elder Huan has finally given up. But right at that very next moment, a primordial aura begins emanating from Elder Huan's body, and a slow but very deep dragon roar echoes through the sky, and faint yellow flames start rising around his body. And friends, let me tell you here that this was no ordinary aura. It was the true strength and authority aura of dragons, meaning pure bloodline suppression power. And just feeling this, even Tian's heart tightens for a moment. After which, friends, let me tell you that Tian had felt this aura before when the beast wave had started in the Great Stardew Forest. And at that time, he hadn't been able to break free from it for several days, and this time it was actually the power of Tao Ti, who is one of the 9 sons of the dragon god. And Elder Huan had finally awakened that Tao Ti power hidden in his blood. And seeing this, Tian shouts in anger and shock, asking whether Elder Huan has lost his mind and is putting his own life on the line. He had shown leniency so many times, and still this man doesn't know how to back down. After which, friends, let me explain something here, that for an ultimate douluo, burning their soul power isn't dangerous because their soul core stays intact, but the body takes a very long time to recover, and that's exactly what Elder Huan was doing right now, burning his soul power to bring out that pure Tao Ti power living in his blood, because both Tao Ti and Tian are actually dragons, so this was the only way Elder Huan had to stop him. After which Tian becomes even more concerned because he feels Elder Huan isn't going to reveal anything, and this convinces him that Yuhao is definitely doing something that the world is being kept away from. And if an ultimate douluo is willing to put his own life on the line, then that work must be just as important. After which Tian drops all his previous reservations, and a golden glow starts burning in his eyes. And friends, let me tell you here that this was his most terrifying state, meaning murderous intent had now entered him. After which, his huge dark dragon sword rises again, and the entire world seems to sink into dark purple. And right then, behind him, a mysterious sight forms where a black sun and a purple moon appear overlapping each other, and his aura starts rapidly intensifying. And seeing this, Yan Xiaozhe, Xian Liner, and everyone else standing there are stunned, because this was the real Beast God aura. And everyone feels that even if they all fought together, they still couldn't match Tian. After which, Elder Juan isn't shaken even a little by this sight, and the yellow flames around his body intensify even further, and behind him too, a faint shape starts forming, which had a human-like head but a goat-like body. And friends, let me tell you here that this was Taoti, one of the 9 sons of the dragon god, and Elder Juan had finally fully unleashed his bloodline power, after which Beast God's aura seems to weaken a little because Taoti's bloodline power has the capacity to suppress the darkness dragon bloodline. After which, friends, let me tell you that the last time Tian had been sealed, both Elder Mu and Elder Juan had needed to use this Tao Ti power together to stop him, which is why Tian couldn't afford to let this happen again this time, and he was worried about when Yuhao's work would be finished, whether it would get done even while he was sealed, after which Tian makes a cold grunt and right in front of everyone suddenly kneels and bows in the direction of the great Stardew forest, and sheathes his sword exactly like respect is shown in a military ceremony, after which everyone is confused wondering what is going on, and whether there is actually someone in this world who is worthy of Tian's own respect. And even Elder Juan, seeing this move, gets a little confused and thinks whether Tian has some other trick up his sleeve. After which, suddenly, the sky above the great Stardew forest starts changing, and 7 different rainbow-colored lights start spreading, as if a god itself is descending from heaven. And these colors slowly start coloring even Tian's dark clouds, and his aura becomes even more royal and grand, and his golden eyes turn silver. And a 1,000-meter silver domain forms all around him. After which nobody can understand what this power actually is. Elder Juan only senses that this isn't Tian's own power, but something he has borrowed from somewhere, but nobody knew from where. After which an authoritative force descends from the sky, and the huge Tao Ti standing behind Elder Juan starts trembling before that force, and begins trying to bow. And friends, let me tell you here that this was a very big deal, because before this Tao Ti's bloodline was making Tian bow, and now the reverse was happening, meaning Tian had borrowed some even greater power from somewhere, and this causes a stir in both Shrek City and the Sun Moon Empire, and whether there was some other powerful entity hiding in the great Stardew forest that nobody even knew about. And friends, let me tell all of you that this is the existence of Soul Land 3's main female protagonist, Silver Dragon King Guena, after which Tian raises his sword again, and Elder Juan feels that the earth-type energy he used to control so easily is no longer in his control, but rather it's bowing out of fear of Tian's aura, and this thought makes his heart sink, because he understands that even burning his soul power won't help now, and this strike is truly going to be earth-shattering. But right at that exact moment, a very clear and sharp voice echoes through the sky, saying, "Beast! God, why are you taking your anger out on others? If you need me, come at me. Yuhao is waiting for you right here." And friends, let me tell you that this voice wasn't very loud, and yet it was clearly heard by everyone across the entire battlefield. Even the entire Sun Moon Empire army standing 50 kilometers away received this voice. After which, hearing Yuhao's name, different emotions come into everyone's minds. Elder Juan, who is almost on the verge of giving up, gets a gleam in his eyes, and he immediately extinguishes the burning soul power flames, and his Taoti martial soul disappears, and the moment he withdraws back to the godly Taoti bull martial soul, Tian's effect on him is no longer as strong as before. And on the other side, Juji, also hearing this name, becomes fully confirmed that Yuhao is really inside Shrek City, and a storm of different emotions sweeps through her heart. After which, with a flash of jade green light, a figure comes flying up from inside Shrek City. And in the blink of an eye, it reaches great heights. And friends, let me tell you that even Tian's pressure has no effect on him at all. And when he stops beside Elder Juan, it becomes clear that this is none other than Yuhao himself. And this time, he is wearing the icy war god's armor, from beneath which his body glows with a faint jade blue light. And the moment he comes beside Elder Juan feels the pressure halve. After which Elder Juan asks in surprise and quietly whether he succeeded, so Yuhao nods and says yes. After which Elder Juan happily says that's great, and then says to Tian that you were looking for Yuhao. Here he is. After which Tian sees Yuhao and is left stunned because he can no longer read his cultivation level at all, meaning Yuhao had become completely non-transparent to him. After which Yuhao peacefully asks how Tian is doing, and says he has something to return to him and thank you for protecting him all these years. And saying this, his wrist moves and a gray light flies toward Tian, which Tian catches with his hand. And friends, let me tell you that this is none other than that very black dragon's reverse scale that Tian had previously given to Yuhao to seal and monitor him. And a question comes into Tian's mind whether Yuhao has truly reached the height of his power that he even pulled out this scale. After which, Juji, watching all of this from a distance, is also thinking the same thing. And she remembered how strong Yuhao had been the last time in the palace, but not so strong that he could comfortably stand in the middle of a fight between an ultimate douluo and the most powerful being in the world. And friends, let me tell you here that even Beast God himself seemed a little nervous, after which Tian, composing himself, says that if he's guessing correctly, then there can only be one explanation for this. And Yuhao raises his head and smiling asks whether Beast God has the courage to fight him. After which, hearing this, everyone falls into shock, whether they're from Shrek Academy or the Sun Moon Empire. Everyone was stunned that a 20-year-old boy could challenge the most powerful being in the world. But the most shocking part was that Tian nodded and said, "All right," and then says, "Let's see what you've learned." And the moment Yuhao hears this, his eyes light up. And in that moment, there was a strange confidence inside him, because even he himself didn't fully know how strong he had become. Yes, this much was certain, that he had succeeded. After which, we go back and flashback a little, and friends, let me tell you that Snow Girl had used her very last and greatest move, whose name was Ice Spirit Fusion. And with one terrifying explosion, Yuhao had gone completely blank. He couldn't feel his soul core or his body. And after quite a long while, when he regained consciousness, he found that his spiritual soul core was now covered in a new energy which was rapidly healing its cracks. And in his chest, a crystal clear white soul core was spinning with a human shape faintly visible inside it. And friends, let me tell you that this shape was none other than Snow Girl herself, who had merged her own existence into that soul core. After which, Yuhao realizes that he can no longer communicate with his 6 spirits, because after this process, they had all gone into a deep sleep, and he only feels Sky Dream Iceworm's energy, which was busy repairing his spiritual soul core, and the moment he calls out to him, he too turns into a streak of light and vanishes into his spiritual sea. Meaning now his most reliable support system had also gone to sleep, but in exchange, he had received 2 real soul cores. His golden, spiritual soul core, and the white ultimate ice soul core in his chest. And both of them were spinning in opposite directions, and their combined energy was healing his entire broken body. After which we come back to the present, where Yuhao's figure disappears in a flash from beside Elder Huan and reappears a few kilometers away. After which Tian also reaches in front of him in just one step, and raises his dark dragon sword to darken the sky, as if the power of all of nature is in his control. And Yuhao lowers his visor and readies his dagger. And friends, let me tell you here that the dagger in his hand is called the Morning Dew Dagger. And on it, a 4-foot-long blue light blazes up and a faint mist spreads all around. After which the air seems to go still, and such cold spreads that even the Sun Moon Empire army standing far away can feel it. And Tian's eyes narrow as his purple-black sword light advances toward Yuhao's head. And friends, let me tell you that this attack wasn't just darkness power, but was mixed with spatial power as well, meaning this was the power that even Elder Huan himself couldn't directly block. After which, Yan Xiaojie, Xian Liner, and everyone standing behind watches in shock, as instead of avoiding that strike, Yuhao tries to directly block it with his dagger, and right then, a sharp metallic clang echoes through the sky, and right before everyone's eyes, something happens that nobody had expected. After which, friends, let me tell you that a layer of white light forms over that black hole like Gap Tian had created, and all the spatial energy gets isolated by that layer, meaning that opening gets completely sealed, and Yuhao manages to stabilize himself only after flying nearly 1,000 meters backward, but through that backward flight, he had absorbed a large portion of Tian's force, and on the other side, a thick layer of ice forms on Tian's body, which only breaks when he shakes his body forcefully and falls to the ground, completely shattering. After which, it's true that Yuhao wasn't completely on top against Tian, meaning he still couldn't defeat Tian. But still, every single person watching covers their mouth with their hand, because they had just witnessed a person barely older than 20 directly blocking Tian's strike. And friends, let me tell you here that Tian himself was feeling the impact of this clash most deeply, because that ice had also slowed the circulation of his blood and soul power for a little while, and he starts wondering whether Yuhao truly managed to seal his spatial energy while also putting ultimate ice into his body. After which Yuhao also wasn't completely fine, as purple-black streaks start glowing on his body, but the icy war god's armor's jade blue light quickly hides them, and nobody can tell what his actual condition is, after which Yuhao suddenly vanishes like a mirage, and Tian, who had his full attention locked on him, also loses him, just sensing a faint distortion in the air. After which, for the first time, a look of concern appears on Tian's face, and he finally admits that he had underestimated Yuhao, because this boy is far more powerful than he had thought, and he thinks to himself that he must have succeeded, and on the strength of this very yin-yang complement technique alone, he was able to block his strike without even being an ultimate douluo. And this fact scares him even more, which is why he makes up his mind that at any cost, this boy's growth must be stopped, otherwise controlling him in the future will become impossible. After which Tian closes his eyes and takes a deep breath and raises his sword. He had no intention of killing him, but today, at any cost, he wanted to capture him and imprison him forever in the great Star Dew Forest, so that the strength he had built with so much hard work could also be destroyed. And when Yuhao reappears, he is behind Tian, and his icy war god's armor releases a brilliant jade blue smoke which carries him nearly 5 kilometers forward, and he slowly starts moving in the direction of the Sun Moon Empire army. After which, seeing this, Juji shouts out an order that all soul tool deployment areas get ready immediately, because she had understood that Yuhao was intentionally bringing the impact of this clash toward the Sun Moon Empire camp. And friends, let me tell you here, that if the most powerful being in the world and someone this strong clashed directly above their camp, there probably would have been nothing left. After which, strangely, Tian doesn't chase after Yuhao but just stands frozen in the air holding his one-handed sword. But Yuhao was still moving, and with his cultivation covering tens of kilometers in just a few moments, wasn't difficult. And very soon he arrives directly above the Sun Moon Empire army. And using his spiritual interference domain, he creates countless illusions around himself so that nobody standing below can locate his actual position. After which, all the soul tool deployment areas below can't attack anything and just keep trying to locate him with their surveillance soul tools. And right then, Tian suddenly makes his move and in a very simple and elegant way pivots in the air, and this time, holding his sword with both hands, releases a very fast purple-black sword light. But this light is only visible for a brief moment before it disappears, which makes everyone wonder how his massive attack vanished just like that. After which, the sky completely transforms and all those dense purple-black clouds also clear away. And Elder Juan's heart stops for a moment because Tian, who had just completed his attack and calmed down again, turns and looks directly toward the Sun Moon Empire camp. After which Yuhao reappears, but this time he isn't in the air but is standing directly on the ground inside the Sun Moon Empire camp. And friends, let me tell you that he was standing completely calm, as if sensing something, and holding his dagger, he was carefully looking all around, and the soldiers standing nearby immediately sense his presence. But none of them has the courage to approach him. Even the biggest soul engineers can't muster the nerve to confront him because they had just seen this person take Tian's strike. After which, the temperature around Yuhao immediately drops, and cold spreads in every direction within a 1,000-meter radius. His entire icy war god's armor turns jade blue, and the morning dew dagger in his hand starts glowing. And behind him, a faint silhouette forms with golden hair, and he swings his dagger upward with a jerk. That action was very small, but it carried tremendous power. After which, right at that exact moment, Juji's order spreads through the entire army to activate all soul tool deployment areas and link defensive soul tools to full power. And the moment her order is heard, several radiant barriers form above the entire camp, and right then in front of Yuhao, a faint crack suddenly appears, from which a purple light flashes, and Yuhao blocks that strike with his morning dew dagger. After which, a thunderous metallic clang rings out, and Yuhao's entire body starts shaking as if he's received an electric shock, and that insane destructive energy spreads to every corner of his body, and both his yin-yang complement soul cores stop for a moment as if they've frozen, and he himself can't think of anything, and his dagger starts vibrating so intensely it feels like there are several blades within it, and deep blue whirlpools start forming on his armor, which the moment they hit the ground start spreading rapidly. After which, Yuhao feels as if everything inside him has stopped, and he feels the terrifying power of that dark dragon sword exploding throughout his entire body. This feeling was so terrifying it couldn't be put into words, and behind him 2 silhouettes form exactly like the ones that had formed behind Tian, one of a sun and one of a moon. But the difference was that Tian's sun was black and moon was purple, while Yuhao's sun was golden and moon was brilliant blue. And the moment these form, a mystical energy spreads through his body, which starts gluing his broken parts back together like an adhesive. After which, Tian, standing far away, was watching all of this. And before, he only suspected that Yuhao had formed his second soul core through the yin-yang complement. But now he becomes completely certain, because the sun and moon sight is itself the signature of the yin-yang complement technique, and he thinks that this boy has truly accomplished what no human has ever done before. And even Tian himself starts fearing this boy's potential, because he is growing at a terrifying speed. Even if he isn't sure whether he'll form a third soul core and become an ultimate douluo, still, he didn't want to give him any more chances to become even more powerful. After which, right at that very moment, a terrifying destruction begins inside the Sun Moon Empire camp. Those small whirlpools that had fallen from Yuhao's body had now transformed into massive hurricanes, which were spreading across the ground, destroying everything in their path, and these hurricanes were dark blue in color. And friends, let me tell you here that these were actually a combination of Yuhao's ultimate ice and Tian's darkness energy, meaning these were hurricanes formed simultaneously from darkness and ice. And this clash between Yuhao and Tian had destroyed everything in the surrounding area. Within a 1,000-meter radius, every single tent had turned dark blue and crumbled into powder, and everything inside them had met the same fate. And with this, our episode for today ends right here. But in the next episode, how the Sun Moon Empire itself turns against Beast God in the middle of Yuhao and Tian's fight, and how Juji makes a shocking decision because of her real emotions, and how Zhongli Wu wounds Tian with a dangerous spear and makes a full attempt to kill him. And now the question is whether Yuhao will truly go inside the Sun Moon Empire camp, and what his meeting with Juji there will be like. To find out, make sure you wait for the next episode, and yes, get the 500 likes target done in this video, and until then, bye-bye. Take care.